Bob Dwyer, Carbon Monoxide Safety Association. Classroom discussion, re-edit, flu-like symptoms and the health effects of carbon monoxide. This is March 30th, 2020. This brief video presents health effect information about carbon monoxide exposure. It's important to know. In the public service businesses and trades, you'll be in many different buildings encountering many people. You got to recognize these symptoms of carbon monoxide poisoning. Always carry a personal CO monitor and make sure that every building you enter has a carbon monoxide alarm. If they don't have one, help them get one. If they don't have smoke detectors, help them get them. Everyone is exposed to this toxic gas unless they live in an all-electric bubble and never go outside. The world community is one as a culture based on fire. When there is fire, there will be many carbon monoxide exposures. We're going to discuss carbon monoxide exposures and health. This presentation will help prepare you HVACR technicians and others that are going to take the HVAC Excellence Carbon Monoxide Safety Inspector exam. And even if you're not going to take that exam, this program will be of use to you. You may unexpectedly encounter carbon monoxide or someone who tells you about their symptoms. If you recognize these symptoms and they've had them for a while, you've had them for a while, and you can't figure out what they are, physicians, healthcare providers can't figure it out. Carbon monoxide, it's always a good test to take. This is always one of my go-to slides. You know, we live in a combustion-based culture, and carbon monoxide exposures, there it is. In situations where people breathe in combustion gases and experience oxygen displacement health symptoms are quite common, yet these conditions diagnosed as CO poisoning are not commonly recognized. Again, emphasizing personal monitors when you go out and home protection with low-level carbon monoxide detectors. And high-level detectors are also important, but let's make sure we have low-level detection. The body does produce a small amount of carbon monoxide. It's called endogenous carbon monoxide. Very small amounts, and there's a lot of medical information associated with that. We're not going to talk about that. What we're concerned with is the exogenous sources of carbon monoxide. Those are the ones that we inhaled, the inhaled poison, the one that displaces the oxygen and the hemoglobin in our blood. Poisoning from carbon monoxide can go undetected, though a person may be experiencing symptoms every day. Some of the health effects of carbon monoxide poisoning, it seems to be most commonly misdiagnosed as a flu-like syndrome. The early low-level symptoms can include nausea, headache, dizziness, achiness, a constant stuffiness, changes in heart rate, sinus and head pressure, slower reaction time, just to name a few. The symptoms may vary due to overall health, age, sex, or weight of a person exposed and how much CO they were exposed to. Well, carbon monoxide can be quantified in the body by a scale, and what they're looking for is the level of carboxyhemoglobin, or COHB percent. Traditionally, it's been a blood test. There's other methodologies. Repeating ourselves in summary, when we inhale CO or carbon monoxide, it bonds with hemoglobin in blood and displaces oxygen, forming carboxyhemoglobin. A doctor can't see it, can't listen for it. They actually have to test for it. Again, it used to be an arterial blood sample, but that technology has reached a point where we can do it almost instantly at the moment. A small pet, what's that up there for? Well, gosh, small animals can feel the effects and demonstrate them of carbon monoxide poisoning much sooner than a human being can. Some of the effects that carbon monoxide has on people and animals, dizziness, headache, confusion, head stuffiness, elevated blood carboxyhemoglobin levels, fatigue, eye and upper respiratory irritation, a persistent cough, wheezing or bronchial constriction, an increased frequency of angina in persons with coronary heart disease, some endothelium damage, the inner lining of your blood vessels, a study that came out of the University of Pennsylvania in Harrisburg in the mid-1990s. It was a frontier study. The standard therapy for carbon monoxide requires supplemental oxygen, ventilatory support, and monitoring the heart rate. Higher exposures require a hyperbaric chamber to force CO out of blood, replacing it with oxygen. Arterial blood sampling was the traditional methodology for determining carboxyhemoglobin levels in a victim. Breath analysis and pulse oximeter testing. Now, there's a pioneering unit of a breath analyzer. The pulse oximeter is current, it's modern. They're both non-invasive. They may confirm CO exposure, though the building's been ventilated. Through the decades of my public instruction, I've had the privilege to utilize either a breath analyzer or pulse oximeter during those presentations. I've tested thousands of people. I've never drawn a blood sample. Believe me, this testing is quick and it's easy, and even in my limited experience, I'm not a healthcare provider, but I have measured people through those methodologies, and I have found that they've had some issues, and they reported back to me that the situations that they were in their environment were discovered because they started measuring. They thanked me. They will thank you too. As a healthcare provider, we have to do more of this. There's a lot of misdiagnosis. Carbon monoxide is that forgotten cause for the symptoms that are presented every day. While the conference was canceled, my training continues. I always like to remind you that you may be exposed to carbon monoxide on a boat, on a bus, in a car, in a house, on a street, at a construction site, almost everywhere. Be careful. It's good to measure. It's good to know. I'm Bob Dwyer, Carbon Monoxide Safety Association.